Oh, you can't see me.
Can we get some staircase? You know, they normally would have something.
I'm vertically challenged.
Mother is vertically challenged. You know, it's possible.
Critical issues confronting the country as the socio-economic crisis worsens. The recruitment of the Kenya Kwanza regime that has clearly lost the trust and confidence of a majority of Kenyan people. So far, the shortlisting process has left out Kenyans with credible qualifications and experience based on our assessment over the 1,400 who applied for positions. And it happened the same way with those who applied for chairperson. Quite a number of those who made the list have questionable credentials, and some of them have partisan interests and are either members of the UDA party and the ODM party, or managing somebody within UDA. There are serious allegations of integrity and grave inherent conflict of interest. A number of the selected applicants are members of the executive structures of UDA and ODM and have in the last 3 years been beneficiaries of skilled public appointments by William Ruto and some by Mr. Odinga. We wish to point out the case of Joy Medieval. She has been the chairperson of the UDA Internal Dispute Resolution Committee. It is clear that Ms. MS Medieval is not eligible for consideration for appointment as IEBC Commissioner as stipulated in Article 88, 2A, Roman 2 of the Constitution. Given the clear position articulated in our supreme law of the land, why was MS Medieval shortlisted by the IB selection panel? This is a clear violation of our Constitution. More so, this is a great betrayal to young Kenyans who sacrificed their lives on June 25, 2024 in order to have a credible and independent commission, among other things. The cry of the Gen Z was transparency and accountability. Given the clear, Mr. Ruto's personal advocate is also set for an interview as a possible commissioner. We ask, how can a person bound by the principle of client confidentiality be expected to discharge his constitutional duty free of actual or perceived conflict of interest? Would he be non-partisan if he is recommended for the position? It is seemingly becoming plausible that the review of the original list was designed to accommodate the interests of the top members of government. Worse, there are growing concerns about the National Intelligence Service, which has recently been accused of abductions, torture of civilian disappearances, and other human rights crimes and illegalities. We challenge the IEBC selection panel to categorically explain how Ms. Medieval and Karua were shortlisted and the role, if any, of the NIS in the selection process. We also urge the panel, I want to add there, and anybody else who has conflict of interest, because there may be others whom we don't know and the public knows. We also urge the panel not to take part in any partisan actions that may pose an existential threat to the well-being of the people of Kenya by undermining electoral justice. And you know, electoral injustice has been a great problem in this country. The panel should only nominate persons who are beyond reproach and will carry out their functions in accordance with the Constitution of Kenya. We further demand that the principle of consultation and concurrence be implemented before the final appointment of the commissioners. Between Mr. Ruto and Mr. Odinga on one side and the opposition, which reflects the country's current reality. In other words, what we are saying is this: let there be consultations on one hand with Kenya Kwanza and its allies, and it's obvious ODM is an ally of Kenya Kwanza, and the opposition, which clearly, because the opposition touted in NADCO report for concurrence was the opposition in parliament. In parliament, the second largest party after ODM, which has now gone to government, is Wiper Party, led by my brother Kalonzo Musyoka. There is also the DAPK party and Jubilee, the wing led by Uhuru Kenyatta, the other wing having gone to KK. So when we talk of consultation and concurrence, we expect Ruto to consult His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, who will then gather the others and sit down for concurrence. Any appointment of the chairperson or commissioners without reverting to the opposition is totally unacceptable, and we will take whatever action is available to us, legal and political. On the violent early elections campaigns by UDA and ODM, following the unholy union, Mr. Ruto launched an aggressive campaign in Nairobi, accompanied by UDA and ODM officials. The disruptive early campaign featured marauding gangs who went on robbing and mugging sprees against unsuspecting Kenyans going about their everyday life under police protection. We say so because police were in view when people were being mugged and did nothing. Mr. Ruto also illegally exploited public resources to mobilize the paid up masses. The phony display of support failed miserably, and the preposterous fake promises of creating and distributing millions of free chapatis to Kenyans did not quell the people's rage against this discredited and rogue leadership. It begs the question that many are asking across the country: how desperate and to what new laws will this rogue regime sink to? As the Ruto regime prepares to invade Mount Kenya, they are already there. We've been hearing them on the radio. A region with their misguided, Mount Kenya region with their misguided brand of politics, ya tutatenga tutaleta, and I heard him repeating the same words. We demand that common decency, basic courtesy and civility and decorum, terms that appear unfamiliar to Ruto and his ilk, that they should replace their vile and violent brand of politics which they recently introduced in Nairobi. We are cautioning him. Do not take thugs to the people of Mount Kenya and to any people in this great country of ours. Go to the people if you believe they have given you mandate and your mandate is still current. Go to them without having to mobilize thugs, without having to bus people to go and clap for you in a place they don't belong to. Finally, we call on citizens of Mount Kenya region to remain peaceful and patient and not to be goaded by the bad, insightful and hateful behavior of this discredited regime. We also have an issue with the Nairobi County government, which has recently declared Nairobi River Corridor with its demographic implications. We express our strong reservations on the declaration by the Nairobi City County on March 6, 2025, that proclaimed the Nairobi River Corridor as a special planning area, SPA. This will affect private properties to which people have titles. It will affect properties from Naivasha Road to Ruai, including along the tributaries of Nairobi River. We remind the Nairobi City County government that conversion of private property into public land is a function of the National Land Commission, NLC. It is of the National Land Commission through this illegal and unconstitutional declaration. In order to make a declaration like this, noting that via the Constitution, rivers and lakes belong to the national government, not to counties. Therefore, if there is an idea to create this corridor, it must originate from the national government with a cabinet memo, with the necessary policy documents, and most importantly, there must be public participation and parliamentary approval. We categorically say that this move will change the political and demographic arrangement of Nairobi and must not be taken lightly. The People's Loyal Coalition will defend the interests of the people of Nairobi legally and politically. We thank you.
Well done. Pole. Some water for Mother.
So I think we can take some questions, a few questions you might have. I'll invite, yes, we can take 3, and then I'll